All right, we are live again at Doomsday's Krypt. I'm joined tonight by writer-director Scott Hand and actor Kevin Ebner. They're here to tell us a little bit about some projects they're working on or a project or two they're working on and let us know a little bit about them. So welcome to the stream, Scott and Kevin.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, I guess the best thing to do is, Kevin, we'll talk a little bit about our first collaboration together. My first feature-length film as writer-director, Lycan, which is a werewolf movie. And Kevin is one of the stars. He plays Tony in the movie. And Kevin, you can talk a little bit about your thoughts about it.
Tony?
Mhm.
Tony's a little bit of typecasting. He's a little bit the loose end kind of guy. The crazy guy, the loose cannon.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun filming that movie with you guys. It's cool to get to play somebody like that. Just kind of cut loose and just kind of go a little crazy. I'm a huge fan of horror movies, so it's like it was kind of awesome experience just to get to play somebody like that, more or less.
Mhm. I started when I had actually wanted to make movies for several years, and became friends with a lot of directors, mostly Anthony Hickox. And when I was pitching things that I wanted to do, I really wanted to do a movie about the Jersey Devil. I mean, I grew up here in New Jersey, and I always loved horror, and I was never happy with any of the adaptations that I had ever seen. So after a while, I got tired of it, and I figured I had a story. So I wrote it down in a notebook. And for years, I never really wrote the whole script. And then finally, I had gotten together with my mentor, Jim DeMuse, and I pitched the story to him. And he said, it's a great story. He says, I can help you get through this. And we got the first draft done, and it was feature length. I mean, it's a feature length. It's like 106 pages long, the script right now. And I never directed anything before. I was going out trying to do some fundraising and everything, and it wasn't working out. So another friend of mine from Texas had come to visit. He said, why don't you just make a short film? Start small and work your way. So I did a variation of that, and basically only like about, I think it was like 19 pages. I'd written a few drafts of the script, and I had gotten together with Andrew Boylan, who is a collaborator of mine on all my projects. We worked together on, all my stuff. He's my director, and he was my director of photography for the film. And we went out and we shot it over the course of 7 days, and we cut it together. And it was a 19-page script, and it ended up being like 29 minutes and a couple seconds or so. And we did pretty good with that. I got a couple of screenings, at some conventions and things, and people liked it. And I wrote another script that Kevin and I will talk about later that I was going to do as a feature-length movie. And I'd written a few screenplays. I did one that was kind of like a romantic action movie that I still have. I'd written several drafts of. I'd been getting together with people, investors, actors, things like that. And that didn't work out either. Because again, feature length, you're looking at a lot of time involved in it. And, the longer it is, the more money it's going to cost. So I figured another short film, which would be this one, Werewolf Movie. And I put together a script, a first draft, and we figured we'd do it as a short. And then I was talking to makeup effects people. They were coming in, and they loved the script, and they said, you should pad it up and make it feature length. It could really have some legs. So I went back and I did probably about 5 or 6 drafts of the script. We got into casting, we did some testing, things like that. We raised a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit. And then we started to go out and bring everybody on, and Kevin was one of the people to come in and audition. He did a super job. I knew right away that he was perfect for the part of Tony. I signed him right away that day, and and even now, like, we have a rough cut of the picture. I spent so much time looking at all the different takes and figuring out what's what works and what doesn't work. And over the course of the entire summer, because we ended up with like 26 hours and 26 and a half hours of footage. So, I mean, it's a lot of footage to, be cutting down. So, but I looked at the rough cut again yesterday, just before we got into this. And Kevin, you did a great job. I mean, really, you just really took the character to me. You brought it.
I don't know if
You
it's your mic. Are you getting it, Kevin? Where are you getting some crackle from him, or is it just on my end?
There's a little crackle.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know because it was starting to cut out a little bit on your
okay?
mic, I think.
Okay. I didn't turn it off. The mic's still on. So I
Oh,
don't know if I can.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like, how like a wire will get a little something something to it. It's not too bad.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
I just didn't want you to keep going and then not notice it. So I just wanted to let you know and be aware of that.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
You can
Yeah,
hear us for
no,
the
that's
most
really,
part.
yeah. We could hear you. It just had a little crackle to it. So I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
like it stopped us from hearing you at all. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of filmmakers that start off that way. They start off, you usually want a full length movie, but you really got to kind of get your feet going and show everybody with short films. And short films are a great way to show your skills and different stories and different styles and different directing. And, and then you build up to where people are like, well, let's give this guy that opportunity and the funding to do a, a full length movie because it is a big investment.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, it's
Not.
like the most amazing thing about these independent films, especially in horror, is that you're able to put your heart and soul into these movies. And I mean, with the little budget you get, but everybody that gets involved is usually pouring every aspect of their lives into it. And like they're fully committed in these movies, and that's what makes them amazing.
It's true. It's true. And I think that we ended up. I mean, it took a long time. It was a long shoot because we had to keep breaking from time to time because the original schedule got changed and we got the holidays in there and then we had to go back and then we had snowstorms and we were doing a lot of outside filming and things like that too. But we really ended up with I think it's a really good movie. I really do. I think we've got a good picture. It's going to be. I mean, we're still working through post production on it now. And I have some ideas for some enhancements that I want to do to it and also get our music score together.
Yeah, without the right music, you can really make or break a film for sure. A lot of that you know, makes a lot of sense. Every single aspect of filmmaking just adds so much, makes or breaks a film. Really, I find you got a great movie and terrible sound. It's nothing. I mean, 78 Halloween's the perfect example. That soundtrack, as much as the movie and the look of Michael Myers, makes that film.
Yeah, that's classic. That film. That's like one of my
Yeah.
all-time movies. The first. I really like the first two. Even Halloween too. I'm a huge fan of that movie as well.
Oh, some people are asking. They might have come in here a little bit late. Was one you're talking about is Lycian? Am I pronouncing that right?
Like
So if you want to read,
like
oh,
Lycan.
Lycan. Okay. And oh, all right. I don't know. That's kind of a crazy question. I don't know, Facebook user who's asking that question. So I don't know if I want to touch that topic. I
You
mean,
know.
I there was an actor who is no longer with us anymore, and it's been a big story. But we're concentrating on what these guys are doing right now. I don't even know how to comment on that. But I guess a good question just for a different time. Uh, but yeah. So when can we see some of these movies?
Well,
And
the only feature length is Lycan. Lost in the Night is a short film. The plan is to get that back into the film festivals. All right, that's the plan right now. That's what we're working on for 2023. Lycan, like I said, we have a rough cut of it. It's not ready yet, but we're going to be going for distribution. I have 2 different distributors that want to see the rough cut. So I just kind of want to polish it up just a little bit more before I go to them, and then hopefully we'll have an answer for that. But I'm not even at final cut yet. It's still at a rough cut. It's 91 minutes, the current rough cut.
okay. And what was I going to ask? Oh, so how are you funding these movies? Are you doing any Indiegogo campaigns, or are these
Private,
individual investors?
private investors only. Yeah, not private investors.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was curious about it, because that you know, I get it. I don't know if you've ever considered Indiegogo in any shape or form, but sometimes that's a good way to get, in a sense, to get it out there where people hear about it and know about a project. Not even so much that you need the financing for it, but to spread the word. But if you got the independent investors, that's always fantastic to help with a movie, because you never know on campaigns. That's for sure. If you're counting strictly on Indiegogo, you don't make the money, it's really tough. And if you do, it's great. So what are you now? You're shooting some movies now, or are you done shooting for a little bit, and it's just more or less the final process of getting these movies released with
Well,
the distributor?
you're saying movies plural. Lost in the Night, the short film has been finished. We finished
Okay,
that up. COVID hit. I had it set for film festivals, but if you remember what happened when COVID came, everything stopped. The
yeah,
world stopped. So everything just got put on hold. And then Lycaon was happening. So I figured, let's go ahead and make Lycaon. We had everything that we could do and make the movie at the time. So go and make the movie and then, get it done and get it out there. I didn't expect the post-production period to drag on as long as it has. But again, I'm only working with one editor. It's my preference. All right. Andrew and I are close. Kevin knows that. And he has had surgery. He's been sick and everything. So I don't want to, I'm not going to just terminate somebody that I've been working on the project with since the day I wrote it. So I'm going to continue with him and we'll get it done. Hopefully sometime in January, I'll have a final cut and probably have a distribution deal before that time.
all right. So it's just right now, even the short film instead of movie, short film and the full length film. The only way to watch it is at film festivals right now. Let's
Yeah.
show people if they're interested in checking out
Mm-hmm.
Lycaon. Am I saying it right? Oops, we lost
Lycaon.
him.
Lycaon.
I think we lost Kevin. I mean, not Kevin.
No,
Sorry, Scott.
I'm still here. No,
Like
it's like hanging.
Lycaon.
Lycaon. Okay. I just want to make sure. I think I said it right the second time. I
Yeah.
think. I don't know. Okay. Because it's spelt so different when he's like, I mean, I figured it was a werewolf movie, I mean, or similar, but I wasn't sure how to pronounce it because I've only gone back and forth with chat messages on Facebook. So yeah, I have bad enough time pronouncing people's names half the time. So that was. I'm not surprised that I butchered that
No,
one.
don't feel any bad. I get called Kevin Ebner. So.
Well, Ebner's right, right? I said it right.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm
Hey,
saying. I get called Kevin
that's a
Ebner.
victory for me. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
victory for me to say it right the first time.
Yeah.
So, Kevin,
Boy.
what got you into acting? What got you? How'd you meet Scott, and were you acting before this? Stage acting? What got you involved with Scott, and how long you been acting for?
I've not been acting long, that much long, but I did a lot of like dinner theater like type things. Like I did a lot of like goofy like comedies and stuff like that down in Cape May, and that's pretty much what brought me along. To Scott was a mutual friend of ours. I was recommended to him, so Scott called me over one day to try to audition for Lycaon, and that's pretty much how we met that day. But it's pretty much nothing but like dinner theater type stuff I do. I've done a bunch of like short films. I was in the feature length before called Exit Zero. Um, you don't see my face, but you hear me yell.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and I mean that's pretty much it. I mean I just do a lot of dinner theater things. I mean it's a lot of fun. I work a full time job as a appliance repairman. So it's
Okay.
like it's kind of like a nice escape to actually get out and act and like get to uh, get to be a different person for like a couple hours during the day. And I mean it's something I always wanted to do as a kid. Ever since seeing The Mummy
Great.
with Brendan Fraser,
Yep.
I always wanted to be that adventurer. I always wanted to be that person to escape into another world. I always wanted to be the person to solve it. I want to be the hero. And that's kind of what's always kind of fueled my passion towards acting. And in terms of like the horror aspect. I mean, I grew up. I mean, the first time I saw John Carpenter's The Thing was I was like 5 years old. I don't know if you remember Encore, but I remember watching on Encore down the shore when I was
Oh
renting
yeah,
the shore house.
it was like Encore and Stars were like side by side. I thought they were almost one company because half the time it was the same movie. I remember Encore and Stars. These gray hairs don't fool nobody. But yeah, I've been to those dinner theaters, and it is a great way to to kind of get comfortable acting and get out
Exactly.
there
Yeah.
and try different things. And I'm sure that's been helpful. And it sounds like it was kind of a pastime, and you're now more trying to pursue it as a career, or is it still kind of a outlet, or a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I'm trying to pursue it more of as an outlet still because I mean, I still have my full-time job, but at the same time, like if it does take off, that's awesome. But at the same time, like I'm still having fun just making these projects that I'm passionate about. Like working with Scott, I mean, he writes amazing scripts. Um, with Lycaon and our next project coming up, like as soon as he showed me the script, like I was on board because it's the type of stuff that I want to be involved with because he's passionate about it. He's passionate about the people he surrounds himself with, and everybody just wants to put their 100%. Or they want to put all their heart and soul into the projects that Scott's trying to produce, and that's what I love. I mean, my favorite director is Sam Raimi, and I mean, Evil Dead is the case in point of all that. It's a couple of friends that started off like writing a script, going out and showing a couple of short films, and they made it into a full feature-length movie. I mean, and that's amazing, and that's what I feel like I have with Scott and the group that we work with, because I mean, we're just a bunch of passionate people about horror, about film, about telling a good story, and about making sure that um, it's 100% what we feel in our heart and what we think we're going to put as an amazing product out for people to consume, and not just another, the film that's out there. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad, but I mean, like, there's a lot of films out there, like, oh yeah, we just want to make this film, we just want to do that, and at the same time, they're putting their heart and soul in it themselves, but to just force it out there like that is one thing, but to actually take the time, make sure it's done right, and get the right people involved, that's one other thing, and that's what Scott does, and that's why I'm so on board with everything that he does.
I try to write realistically. I don't like to write over the top because when I watch movies, if they go too far over the top, they lose me. There have been so many action movies, and even with horror, when you're dealing with fantasy, I think there's a certain amount of realism that you have to bring to the proceedings. So, like, I think that's why John Carpenter's Halloween works so well. It just builds gradually. You know what I'm saying? Like, it starts out where Michael Myers, you think is just a person, and then as it goes on, he's becoming more and more and more. You know what I mean? But it's gradual. It's not like it's something that's whim bam bang. I think that was part of the the allure and the mysticism, the character, which is why you like it so much. I don't really do slasher pictures. I like monster movies. That's my big thing. I like monster movies, and like I said, my short film for Lost in the Night is a variation. It's it's ultra low budget. It's micro. All right. I mean, it was basically to show what I could do with basically nothing, with just very little money at all. Okay. And then we did go out and we shot some other trailers for some other pictures as well, which I shared with you, John. And they were based on scripts that I had written as well. Lycaon is, like I said, is my first feature length. But when you do feature length, it's a lot more entailed. All right. Like I said, Lost in the Night was a 7-day shoot. When we shot the trailers for the other one I showed you, the other picture, that was 3 nights. We did 3 nights and we got those 2 trailers together. Okay. But for Lycaon, we shot about something like 35 days, all right, over the course of, 4 months, Kevin? I think we started last year in November, December, January.
It was around November, yeah.
Yeah. It was right around this time before Thanksgiving. And then we went all the way into like the beginning of March. I think March 5th was our last day of shooting. And then at that point, it was basically, I had to start looking into things for the next film that I'm trying to get us into right now, which I mean, it's no secret. It is called The Black Tent. I did write that script it's going to be 4 years ago, this January, but I actually started on the project the year before. It took me almost an entire year just to actually write that script by the time I was doing my research on carnivals and things like that. Because it's a carnival movie, but it's horror. I mean, it's not slasher, but we got a monster in there, a man-eating demon. We got a magician in there. We got a detective. We got a murder going on separate from it. It's very layered. It's very much like a puzzle, the movie. All right. It kind of really keeps you guessing. All right. And when we were doing Lycaon, I knew I really wanted to do this movie, The Black Tent, but I knew I was going to need a lot more money. I couldn't, it wasn't, and we needed a schedule, and I needed to go with even more seasoned pros. I needed to have a real makeup effects artist. I needed to have a seasoned cinematographer this time. We had to do, probably some miniatures. And from the way I saw it in my mind, I had to have a production designer, a visual artist that could go back to like the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and the German expressionism. Because I remember, I think I may have showed you some of the pictures that I think I sent you, John, to give you an idea of what mine was.
Yeah.
And we've been on location recce's for that. I wrote another draft of the script. It's attracted quite a few people. I've got like 36 speaking roles on this next picture. I have Kevin returning, this time as the star. I've given him the starring role this time. When we were doing Lycaon and I was trying to put this together, I said to him, I said, look, Kevin, I want to talk to you. I got another script, another idea for a movie. And I said, I really think I want you to be the star of this movie. And he's like, what's it about? I told him. He came over and he signed for the script. He read the script and he was telling me he loved the script. And then from there, I've been building. I got the production designer, I got the cinematographer, I got the makeup effects artist. We're on our way. All right. It's just, the thing is, like everything, budget. It's like every time you get into it, you'll find a series of knots come up on you with money when other parts are just smooth sailing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it.
What makes sense? So how long have you wanted to do films for? I mean, what got you like inspired to start writing scripts and doing this? And
that goes way back. I mean, I'm 50 years old now, so I mean, writing. I think I wanted to write movies when I was 21. I was following Fangoria magazine a lot. I was really into the low budget independent horror movies, like studios like Trimark, which is now gone, and Artisan and things like that. And I got a telephone interview with Anthony Hickox. At the time, he was in post-production for Warlock, the Armageddon. And he was really giving me a lot of information, and I wrote a paper about it when I was in college. And I just knew at that point, I just wanted to write movies. It's like I knew I had stories, and he was another one. Like I was telling him about myself, and all. He's like, "Well, you should be a writer. You should do this. You probably do have really good stories, and I would love to read them. But I think at the time I was just too young, and just not clever enough, to be able to basically get to that second act. It was like I always had a beginning and an end, but I wasn't good with the middles back in those days. I've gotten a lot better with that. And even with dialogue, I used to really struggle with it, but for some reason I don't anymore now. It's like I can just bang them out really fast. I'm actually been, recently hired to write another script. I'm negotiating with somebody right now, but the deal's closing. So I'm going to be writing for an independent movie pretty soon. And I'm going to be doing that. We still have, the Black Tent going. We have storyboards completed for the movie, and we've been out on location recce's for this movie. We're probably not going to be shooting everything in New Jersey. I believe we're going to be doing most of this out of state. But it's exciting, but it's also overwhelming. Making movies is very hard. It's not simple. There's a lot of work, a lot of effort to go into it. I do takes, I do like people to kind of adhere to the script as much as possible. But I do like my actors to take the part and make it their own, like Kevin did, with the part of Tony in Lycaon, and he'll do it again in the Black Tent.
okay, well, we got some other people. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kevin can do. I mean, once you guys get this out, I'll definitely check out the short film and I'm gonna butcher Lycaon. I think I got it.
You got it.
All right. Nicole Vegas She's an actress. I know this. It's good to see you here. She's saying Indiegogo works. I've supported indie filmmakers, help others get more involved globally. She was talking about that. And she also said, oh, that's Brett, loves dinner theater. So you got fans of dinner theater here, Kev. And also, Nicole Vegas said, any Vegas projects, no snow here. So she's an actress. So you got a couple actors here and actresses. You got Brett Wagner, the big swag, the lost Leatherface from the '03 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. You had the Kemper kill in that. And Nicole Vegas has been in a lot of movies. So it's good to see them both in the chat. So hey, you got some people. You said you had 26 roles. You never know. You might find a couple of them in here.
36 speaking parts, but
36.
I have 18 of them filled already.
Oh, okay.
There's still about half of them.
Well, I wanted
There's
to give
18
the
more.
shout out. Yeah, you never know. You never know. There's some great actors out here in the indie community. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's really awesome watching them grow.
I mean, I can tell you, so far, I mean, I've worked on a few movies, and like I said, this is really technically number 3 for me, my first feature length, but 3 as director and writer. But this one here, I'll be honest, I had the best cast with Kevin, and Jeff Sharkey was just great as the doctor in the movie, and Matt Stabile. I mean, Kevin, you had a lot of scenes with Matt. He had never done it before, but he was great.
Yeah, dude, Matt was awesome. I mean, Matt always he always talked himself down, but he crushed every scene.
He did.
Matt was awesome.
And Kevin Shelley, Kevin Shelley was really, I mean, he ends up almost kind of being a little like a comedy relief a little bit in this movie, but I think he's one of those people that, the audience they love to hate, you know what I mean? Like in his role. And Stephanie Coffey, I mean, I knew Stephanie for maybe about 6 or 7 years or whatever. And I remember when I asked her about coming along for, like, hey, and she said, yeah, I want to talk about it. So she came talk about it, and she said, I can do it. I said, all right. I did a test with her, and I was like, wow, it's pretty good. I said, all right, you know what? We're going to shoot a day with her. We'll see how it goes. We went in, we did a take with her. I'll never forget it. It was the first time we were, it was an interior shot. It was like an office scene. And I had everything lined up. I called action, and I never will forget this. She did it perfectly. And when I called cut, Andrew looked at me, he was DP in the time. He looked at me, which was like, do we really have to do take 2? And I was like, yeah, she did it great, but we're going to do it. I got to get my 3 takes in just to be sure. She was great. I mean, I never expected her to just knock it out of the park like that. The actors and actresses and like him, they brought so much to it. I mean, as the writer, I can only write so much, before I have the actors and actresses. And then, of course, sometimes, I'll write one way, and then when I'll get an actor or actress, they'll come in and they'll read, and it's like you kind of get a different feel for the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So then it's like, well, you know what? Maybe this one has to be a little bit more sassy, not so held back. Maybe this one that I had sassy has to be a little bit more held. You know what I mean? You kind of have to juggle it and tailor it to the actor and actress's strengths, and that way you get the better performance. At least that's what I found out.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really busy and you got some talented people working with you. And it really takes a solid team of actors, actresses behind the scenes. Like we spoke about, the sound has to be there. There's so many things to make a movie right. You could have the greatest actors in the world, but if it's not filmed right, sound's not right, if it's not edited right.
Don't forget the score.
And,
don't forget the music.
Well, and again, and that's why I go back to say, like, people have to be absolutely 100% involved in the film. They have to have the heart and soul poured into it. Because, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's on a Hollywood budget. It's not like that. But when you have the people that want to actually make an amazing film and absolutely put their all into everything, then you're going to get an amazing film. I don't care what the budget is. You're going to get a great classic cult horror film. I mean, look at Halloween's a perfect example. I mean, they all took pay cuts.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes.
Months.
I mean, there's so many movies that some of my favorite movies are the ones that really had to take a smaller budget and the team comes together to make it happen and make it work. Because you got to have the heart and passion to do it that way. If you're not doing it just for the money and the fame and glory, but you're doing it to bring something to light that you believe in. You believe in the story. You believe in the team you have, putting this together from top to bottom. You know it can lead to those kind of things, and it's important to really follow through and put your all into doing these projects because it does. It
Well,
leaves
I
a
think
legacy if it works.
That's right.
absolutely, and I think horror is the absolute testament to that. I mean, look at the Terrifier. We have the
Terrifying.
Terrifier 2
Oh,
now, and
Yeah.
that was based
it,
off a short film. I mean, he became the
yeah.
host of that entire um what's the word I'm looking for, anthology. Then he got his own
Yeah.
movie, and then after that, I mean,
All Hallows
That's,
Eve.
what?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and wasn't Terrifier 2 funded off of Indiegogo or?
I don't know.
Oh well,
But
the first one, I think what the first one was, and I pretty sure the second one was also. They had a
Yeah,
$250,000 budget. I spoke with the producer. He was on a week or two ago, and I was shocked that it $250,000 did an amazing movie. And Terrifier 1, I think, was like 38,000, not much. And yeah, I mean, it's what goes into it. It's the talent you have to it, and
exactly.
using
Yeah,
them.
I mean,
Damon Leone's does like the special effects, so that cuts a lot of costs right there. So
yeah,
if you got talented people willing to sacrifice and put something together, and there's the sky's the limit with it because you can do things. You like to have the budget you want, but if you got the team members working with you to help you make it happen, they'll
right.
do what it takes to make it happen. So
exactly. And
that's
and that's a testament to horror films. I mean, it's all an art, but I mean, horror. I feel like horror films take an aspect of everything and put it all into film itself.
Absolutely. I mean that's the reason why I liked the horror genre so much, and I think why it means so much to me. But one of the things I always want to do is the story is everything. I don't want to sacrifice the story at all. Like my production designer, Chris Waters, he said like the way he goes around and talks about the black tent to people, he's just always saying it's a story, a big story with horror in it, which probably is the best way to look at it. I mean, it's dialogue heavy, but I like conversation. I do like a good conversation in horror movies. Like some of those like once in that Stephen King movie, The Mist, when they're all in the supermarket and they're the one soldier's talking about was Arrowhead. He's starting to like give you the seeds of what happened and why this is that. It's like that gets you more, at least for me, it gets me more interested in the story because now it's like you're already invested in it so far. Now you're getting and finding out the background of it. So, it's kind of like hooks. You have to have these hooks. There's one scene, Kevin, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you on this was in Like Hey, and there's a scene in the movie where Kevin's character and Matt's character, they're in this car and they're having this drive and they're having this conversation about my character, all right? Because I'm in the movie as well. And the way that Kevin's talking about him and he's saying, do you remember this? Do you remember when, this happened and that happened to him? And, Matt's kind of like, yeah, I know, but why are we talking about this? And the way it's going on, it's like when it was cut together and I watched it for the first time, I'm like watching and watching. I'm like, man, I should have just written some more dialogue in here. Yeah, it was so good. It was like it was really hooking me into the scene. You did a great
that.
job. You really did a great job, Kevin. You really did.
Thank you.
So what?
Well,
How
like
are
I
you
said,
liking being in front of the camera? Like
Uh, Me? How do I
Kevin.
like it?
No, Kevin. How are you like being like well in front of the camera, not just to scream? How are you liking it compared to dinner theater? Is this something that like is a whole different experience, or are you able to incorporate a lot of it into the filmmaking? I mean, being really your first film that you're starred and right in there, and like Scott's saying, you did an amazing job, and he's real excited for people to see your performance. So that's high praise right
I mean,
there.
to me, it's the same as just acting in front of a crowd. It's just instead of an entire audience, there's just one. If that makes sense. There's just one person looking at you if you think about it that way. I mean, to me, it's an escape. So whenever I'm acting, it's me getting to be somebody different for X amount of time. So to me, no matter what the audience is, whether it's a camera, whether it's a group of people, whether it's an entire audience, it's all the same to me. It's fun to actually uh, be involved in something that people are trying to create together. To me, if that, I'm wording this poorly, but
You're doing fine.
it,
You're doing
I
fine.
know exactly what you mean, though.
Yeah.
It's something I don't want to say you can't put into words, but it's just an experience that there's so
it
many
is. I
emotions
mean,
that go into it, and expressions you could say about it.
I've been in shorts before. Like I was in a short called Nothing Left, which won a bunch of awards at a couple film festivals. But this is the first feature length that I was featured in. Not like a disembodied voice or something like that in a videotape, but which that movie was awesome, by the way. Exit Zero by E.B. Hughes. If you want to check it out, it's on Amazon Prime. Very good
I
movie.
will.
Um, but I mean, this is the first time I was actually featured in a feature length, so that was a little bit more uh, surreal to me, I guess I would say, because I wouldn't actually think I would be featured like that. If that makes sense. I'm a dinner theater boy, so I'm used to just ad libbing and making fart jokes.
Nicole Vegas saying small sets are enjoyable. I have not had a chance to be on a set, so I know she's been on many. So I I can imagine. I figure a small set would be more personal, and you just get that easier way
Yes.
to get that bond with people compared to just a massive crew and going through all that. It
I don't.
also congratulations on your first feature.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yeah, I mean I'm excited for it. I want you to keep me updated on this, Scott, because it's like you said, there's not a lot of trailers you can show too much.
The the trailers that we have is just the ones that I showed you. I can show you the ones
Yeah,
for I shared, and then the other picture, the bloodthirsty trailer that we had. The Lycan trailer, we do have it cut. We even have our poster design, but I'm under a contract where I can't release any of that right now until we arrive at least at final cut. All right. So until I'm actually there at the final cut of the movie, at that point, we'll go live with the trailer. Um, we'll be able to get into hopefully release dates, have an idea of that, what kind of distribution, but I don't think we're going to have, I think I'm going to need another 6 or 7 weeks in order to get there because I've got my guy to do the music score and we're going into the holidays. So I think we're going to spill through the first of the year. And then we've got some ADR work we're going to have to do. Kevin, I will be seeing you in person soon for that. We have to get that done. And also there's, I think I'm going to shoot a little bit extra on one of the kills to make it a little more graphic. So there's a little bit more work that needs to be done on it. I think right now that rough cut at 91 minutes, I think the final movie is going to be somewhere close to 100 minutes long by the time I'm done. That's what I think I'm going to end up with. Now this next picture, the Black Tent, I mean, the script I had for Lost in the Night was 19 pages. The final's 29 minutes. This movie or shooting script was, I think, 70 pages, Kevin, right? I think it was like
It's
70.
around that, yeah. Like
You know,
I think it was like around 75-ish.
ooh, I don't think I was that high. I don't think I was
Was
that high.
it?
I don't think I was 75. Yeah, that sounds high.
I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah, I think it was around 70, 71 pages tops. But the movie right now, I mean, like I said, it's 91 minutes and it still needs things. So, I mean, so the Black Tent, the current draft of that script is 118 pages. So I'm figuring this is going to be like over 2 hours long. It's going to be a long movie, you know. But I think it's going to be a great movie, though. It's going to have a very Tim Burton look for the movie. I'm going for that German expressionism, slanted tents, crooked lampposts, different colored lighting, because it's carnival and all. And I have some really good, very seasoned, very talented people already on the actual behind the scenes working with me. People that I'm extremely thankful for. That I'm able to work with them right now. Because every time you make a movie, you're learning. I did Lost in the Night. I hadn't directed anything before. I learned a lot on that one. When we went back to shoot the trailers for the other one, that was like 3 times the cast and crew, and that was like wow. It was really kind of like overwhelming. All right, and things got a little out of hand. So it's like you really need to have producers and production managers to be able to wrangle people up.
Yeah.
You got to deal with location owners and things like that.
Production designers are key. My good buddy Mick Strawn's a legendary production designer. I know without those guys, the movie's just not going to have that look. And you did show me some reference pictures because I know you're a Burton fan and you're looking for that Burton kind of vibe. So to have the right people put that together so you have it is incredibly important.
Well, even
The
with
set
like
designs.
with like Kane, there's a lot of moonlight shots. Like every time we're outside, we've got the blue moonlight, with the fog and things like that, to kind of give it like that old time look. You know what I mean? It's in color. The movie's in color. It's not in black and white. I don't shoot any of my movies in black and white, but it has that old time feel. Like there's one part when the werewolf's stalking this one woman, and she's running through the fog, and it's already kind of like slashed her and she's bleeding profusely, and there's things like after her, it's really coming together nicely, very suspenseful.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever consider black and white, just out of curiosity? Because I'm an old school monster fan and Universal monster fan. So to see like an updated black and white version with some gore, I figured would kind of be like a neat look too. But yeah, but I get the vibe and everything. So
I haven't considered that. I've written 8 screenplays already. I just outlined 4. I did, just in the past few weeks because I've been, like I said, we've been paused on Like K, and so in between location recce's and talking to my associate producer and my production manager for the Black Tent, I've been just like thinking about ideas and things like that. I got ideas for comedy. I have an idea for a comedy. I actually wrote a short for that. Something different for me. To just do a comedy, and then somebody said to me on the production, they said, "What if they want to Like K and 2?" And I said, I don't have a story for that. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I guess I got the story for Like K and 2. So I better get on the notebook and just get the outline ready in case they want it. So that way I can, just put it together, So, but Lost in the Night, I want to talk real quick about that one. I told you earlier, I did have that in feature length form. And I was talking to another filmmaker that Kevin and I both know. And he said to me on the phone the other day, he says, I've done the Chupacabra, I've done the Bigfoot. I want to do one on the Jersey Devil. And I said, well, how convenient. I said, I have a full script here written. He goes, where are you at with it? I said, I got a first draft. That's all I've got. I don't have anything else in place. And he was like, He's like, would you be willing to talk about that? Like after the new year, we could talk about that. And I said, yeah. So maybe, in the near future, we'll be, seeing Lost in the Night in its, full glory in its feature length, version, which will be really cool because it'll be extremely different from the short film that's finished now.
So are there any like short films that you've done or that you've had ideas for short films, but want to make a full length movie out of it someday? Or if you had a short, like a concept? Yeah.
Lost in the Yeah, that's the one, because that started out as feature length. My whole plan was,
Yeah.
I wrote this, and I wanted to make it, couldn't get the finance, and we needed, I think at the time we needed $150,000, all right, to make the movie, and I just, I couldn't find anybody that was willing to take that gamble on me. So I just went back and I just took the concept and scaled it down to practically nothing, and we went and filmed it. I think for what it is and for the budget, I think it turned out very nicely. I've shown it to some people that are, directors, people that are in the film, independent world. And they said, how much did it cost? I give them the budget. I'm like, you did a great job. It's solid storytelling.
Well, you'd like to just turn it into once you get like things rolling, turn it into the full like movie that you really intended it to be.
You'll see the Jersey Devil. You'll actually get to see it. I already have a special effects guy hired, to do an animatronic Jersey Devil. He's going to make the thing move and everything, But all that costs money, and it was money we just, we didn't have it, so we couldn't do that, But maybe now.
Money talks, money makes it tough. I mean, sometimes you got to make sacrifices to get started, and you got to have that right script. Because even though you'd rather do a full length, and you had to shorten down a full script to a short, you sometimes got to do that to get the point across and show what you're capable of as a filmmaker. And even as actors, shorts are great because it really gives a chance to show their chops. and get cast in bigger roles. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And like for the Black Tent, in addition to the storyboards, we actually have paintings. We're actually I commissioned paintings to be made, so this way it can really show the investors what where my mind is and how they see it. And it's always interesting because whether I'm talking to an actor or an actress about it, or an investor or another filmmaker, and I say I'm going for the German expressionism, they're like, really? What do you mean? And I'm like, well, like Tim Burton, everybody gets excited when then they want to talk. As soon as you do that, and then when you start showing them the paintings, it's like it blows their mind. And they're like, I'm in. I can put this much up. I can do this. I can do that. You know what I mean? It's amazing, but
Yeah, Nicole's saying the showbiz will cost money, time, energy, training, marketing, sleep deprivation. She started last year, but she's been really doing well out there, Nicole. So congratulations.
She forgot sweat, blood, and tears.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't get a little bloody on set, with some real blood, then you're not doing it right. You're not going all out the way you need to. You got to go
Not
all
doing
out.
it right.
Right.
Next, that way you can step up to setting yourself on fire. Let them know that you're the type of actor who will do anything.
Absolutely.
Go
my
all
own
Tom
stunts.
Cruise. So yeah, just hook me up to a jet. No problem.
Yeah, I'll climb a biplane. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
Problem. Tom Cruise can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. He's 5'2".
Yeah, I'll give that man credit though for 5'2" and what is he?
Oh no, absolutely,
60. Yeah. That dude, man. I mean,
I give him a lot of credit.
Man, he's
Right.
something else, man. He's something else. I mean, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I mean, I love a lot of his movies, and the fact that it shows that he doesn't have a stunt man. He just does that shit. but are you going to do your own stunts, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's the fun
See,
part.
you don't even have to pay for a stunt man for him, Scott. See, he committed live on the stream.
Yeah.
You said you didn't need one, Kevin.
Oh, absolutely not.
And let's see. Nicole does stunt training. She's been on fire. So if you need somebody to be lit on fire, Nicole is your girl.
Not on the Black Tent.
Yeah. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, the Black Tent looks really cool. I know you sent me some concept pictures of that, and it's kind of got that horror circus out in the middle of nowhere tent, like just something creepy inside that tent, an Alice in Wonderland type vibe inside the tent, just from visually what I see.
Well, did you see? Did I send you our promotional ad that we put on for that? Did I send you that, John? We put together a promotional ad with some computer graphics and things like that, with music, and I even had Chris Waters doing the voice of the Barker to introduce it. Did I send you that yet?
I know you sent me a bunch of stuff, and my brain's been so mushy. Let me take a quick look here. Yeah. Send it to me again, because I know we talked quite a bit, and I wanted to kind of like be able to be surprised by some of the stuff you're saying too. Because I'll give Scott a lot of credit. He reached out to me, was talking to me about his movie. I'm like, dude, why don't we get you on and we'll come talk about this? Bring any actor or any of the people you're working with on, and I really loved his passionate excitement for these projects. So I was like, man, let's talk about it. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
I'm glad you guys are on. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you guys. See what you guys are actually working on. It feels like, all right, so what's going on? We're so close.
Yes.
John, you'll have to come and visit us on the set of the Black Tent.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd definitely be down. I got to get to the East Coast at some point. I know a lot of people out there, and I did a lot of convention traveling. So I was in Minneapolis and Kentucky and Florida. Now I got to get to the East Coast and a few places I didn't go last year, some new ones. But Jersey's definitely out there because I have family out there. I grew up in upstate New York, and I've had family members that are still in Jersey. And yeah, so it's about time I plan a trip out there at some point. I just got to load the wallet up for everything out in Jersey on the East Coast, which is fine. Yeah,
Mhm.
I miss the food out on the East Coast. I'll tell you that much.
Food's good
You,
here. Yeah, food's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We got the good pizza over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, I used to go to Lakehurst Diner in New Jersey. My grandmother lived right by
Oh
that,
yeah.
and that place was awesome, man. I miss that food. I don't know if it's still open. I'm guessing it probably is, but if I went to Jersey, I'd have to travel to it if it's still around. And if it's
Mhm.
not, I'd just sit there and do a prayer and do a little crying and go back down memory lane. But man, I remember going to that place at my grandmother's. That was like the best part. I'd be excited to see my grandmother, but it's like, all right, let's hit the Lakehurst Diner. Yeah, yeah. I do have to get out to East Coast. My artist, Michael Toth, who's here, he did all these cutouts. He's in Pennsylvania, so to get over the East Coast is definitely a plan in 2023 at some point.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, you'll have to come if you make it in like March or April. You'll have to come out and visit us on set for the Black Tent.
Yeah, definitely. I'd absolutely love to come check it out. That's for sure.
It's
Um,
going to be a lot bigger. It's going to be a lot bigger than my other productions, and that's one of the things that I telling Kevin about, because we're going to have a lot more people on set than we normally have. Because normally I normally have skeleton crews. This next one's going to be it's going to be a lot more people on this one here. We're going to have a few gaffers, probably a couple of camera assistants. I'm going to have an assistant director who's very seasoned. All right, who's going to be coming over from England, all right, to help out with the picture. I've known him for about 10 years now, and we've been wanting to work together for all this time. And we met already, and I told him it's happening, and he's like, crikey, when, and I told him, so it's going to be really cool to, be able to work with people that have a lot of experience to share, you know.
yeah, that's the cool thing. I've seen people who haven't worked together and wanted to work together so many times, and then to see it come true for them, come follow through. It's such a great experience, and usually it always turns out awesome because both people are so excited to do it, and it winds up being something really cool, man.
I think, I try to just keep reading the script all the time on Black Tent, because that's the one that's going to be happening soon. And it's like sometimes, like, I'll sit down and I'll take pages of it and I'll just map it on the floor, and I'll just sit there with the coffee and just like I'm like in my mind I'm reading and I'm trying to visualize things, because I have a very definitive look for this. This one's really different. It's I've been on it for so long. You know what I mean, John? I've been on it for so long.
Yeah, there's a lot
You
of
know,
heart that's been into it, and it's a
yeah,
long
it's like
time coming.
Yeah, it's like, like Hayen happened fast. It was like I wrote the first draft in August and we were rolling in November. I mean, it was like 3 months later, 3 months, 4 drafts later, boom, we were out on set doing it. This one here, I had actually I'd started to try to get it going in 2019. And I had a small crew come together. None of them had ever done a movie before. And it was just like this. It was like everybody, it just fell apart fast,
Yeah, yeah, you got to have that experience on set.
Yeah, and it
Well, the
became
other thing is, the other thing like I told you before, Scott, is when the time is right, you're gonna meet the right people, and the movie's gonna get made, and it's gonna get made right. It's it's a matter of having the right people involved, people that are passionate about it, and everything like that. Not to sound like a broken record. Passion is the word of the day, by the way, on Sesame Street. But I mean,
Somebody,
seriously though, I mean, it, it's it just takes the time to actually find those people.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, that's why I think I had to do these other pictures, why I had to do YK and why I had to shoot the trailer for, Bloodthirsty. To take those steps, and each of these was a step closer to the Black Tent, you know.
and
So,
all that stuff that you've done. I mean, once you finally do it, even though you wish it was simpler on the journey, you wish you could get to it, get to it, get to it. When you're finally done and it's completed, it'll just be that much better. I mean, it'll be that feeling when it's accomplished and ready to go. I can't imagine there being a better feeling, especially since there was so much heart and passion and really fight to get it done. That
for
the fact that you did it and you accomplished it, That says a lot, and it's something I'll last a lot longer than if it was easy. Like, if things were easy,
Absolutely.
everybody would do it.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Like one
The
of the things.
accomplishment alone is the reward itself.
Yeah,
One of the things, like, with Black Tent, it's like we go through the scenes, and as I'm going through scenes with my associate producer and production manager, they're like, okay, well, this is how we're going to have to do this. And it's like they're explaining it to me. And it's like when I write it, I'm not thinking of all, you know what I'm saying? Like all the mechanics that have to go through it. So it's like when I'm listening to everything, I'm like, okay, can we do it? And they're like, yeah, we can do it. It can be done. It's not going to cost that much money. We're just going over it with you. They're basically, they know that this is like Lost in the Night, to go to the trailer for the Bloodthirsty was like a couple steps up. Going to Lycaon was like going 10 steps up, and now going to the Black Tent is going to be like going 16 steps up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So.
And I mean, I'm sure you could probably say, even though you wanted the Black Tent to be what it was in your mind to begin with, all these steps you've had to take, the movie might not have been or had come out the way you wanted to if it came really easy or it happened. It could have been a big bust, but everything every step you take, the good with the bad, the learning lessons on filming and all the experience you gain. Now that you're going to be doing the Black Tent, it'll be well worth the wait and well worth the time spent to learn different techniques, different steps that the crew and cast that you'd like to have on the team to get it done. All that stuff doesn't happen overnight. And once people see that your vision and what you're capable of, they'll be excited to work with you. So it seems like that's what's kind of happened with you with all these smaller steps that you've taken to get there. So congratulations with that. I know it's not an easy thing.
No, it's not. And it's not easy you have to get everybody on the same page and keep them on the same page. That also gets to be tough, and it's like, you'll get out on a set, and if you're not completely everybody in sync, your cinematographer, gaffer, everybody, it doesn't turn out right. And then it's like, you lose time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you do have to wear to get it done. That's why I'm writer, director, executive producer. That's why. Yeah, true.
Well, do you find it's hard to give reins and have that trust to somebody to go, all right, I can't do everything. Here you go. And are you pretty confident when you do it, or do you kind of have that like, oh man, are you able to let people have control of a situation without? I know I'm from the East Coast too, so you know what I'm saying.
I'll put it to you this way. With Lycaon, I already knew going into it, if I had Andrew with me, I knew I could delegate things over and not worry, because he would make sure he was in here. You know what I'm saying? He was making sure that he was getting in my head, and he was trying very hard to stay in there. I already know, moving ahead on the Black Tent, the director of photography that I've chosen is very seasoned. I've had many talks with him. I can honestly say it's like whew, yeah, I think I got it. As far as Terry goes, the guy that's going to be my assistant director, I don't have any concerns or worries whatsoever. This basically, he's basically my older twin. I mean, I really have that kind of like, I have that spiritual connection with this guy, where I'm not worried about it. I know this is going to be, so yes. And then with Chris Waters, my production designer, he gets it. He really does get it. He got it right away. He read the script, said, I got it. I've never done it before, but I can handle it. He's like, look, I want to show you what I've coming up with. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And I look, and the designs were amazing. I'm like, yes, absolutely. You got it, man. He comes here. He spends days working with me. We've actually made some models of some of the sets already. We made a model of the first Black Tent that will be in the film. It's a little big, but then we've got some other ones that we've done just to get an idea. And believe me, he definitely has the background aesthetic that I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean, I'm finding on this picture, I think it's because we're finding the right people. So far it's coming along better. People who have done it, people more seasoned, they get it. They ask the right questions, because people could come on and start asking me questions over and over and over again, but it's the same questions. And it's like, look, it's not what I'm going for. You're not getting it. And it's like, when I get to that, it's like, nah, I think we better keep going. You know what I mean? We got to keep going. You know, got to keep looking for somebody else, you know? Because I learned that, you know, when, like I said, when I was working on that other, this trailer for that other one, I had some people on that we weren't getting along, you know? And
Well, at
it's
least
tough.
that didn't happen on Black Tent, where it could have been your big dream
Yes.
picture, your first full length that could have just ruined it all and could have set you back 10 steps instead of taking the steps to get there and finding those people. And like I always say, I mean, even not just in films and anything, but I played a lot of sports as a kid, and teams win championships. If nobody does it by themselves, you have to have the right
Yeah.
team, the right guys who you got to have that pitcher, you got to have the catcher, you got to have the outfield, you got to have those people, and even the ones who aren't the stars on the team that are there to be there for what you're doing and serve their purpose, no matter how big or small, and it comes together well.
Yeah.
Without it, it's just a mess, as you know.
And you have to have, you know, when you're doing movies, you have to have very good actors and actresses, you know, like Kevin Ebner. You know, you have to have somebody as good as him, you know.
I'm okay.
He's being modest. Don't listen. When Lycaon comes out, you can judge for yourself. You know, now he did great. He did fantastic. You know, and he's going to do better with the Black Tent. You know, this is really going to be his show. You know, this one there, he is the star of the movie. You know, the movie is basically all about his character. You know, you're going to be seeing him in practically every scene in the movie. Like I said, I was asked, you know, in writing about how long I saw the picture to be. They always like to get an idea, an overview. And I said, does it have to be exact? They said, well, we would like it to be. So I said, okay, 144 minutes.
That's well, I'm sure for you, Kevin, it's got to be nice that you've had those steps to take, especially being new in front
No,
of the
no, I know.
camera to
I
get
was
the
only
black
joking.
tent. No, but I mean, with the black tent, just getting your feet wet with like hand. I say it right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Getting your feet wet and now going into full length, the black tent. It's got to be helpful for you. I mean, anytime you get in front of the camera and have one complete set and the experience and everything, and then working
No,
with Kevin, with Scott on top, the comfort level gets there, the trust gets there.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Scott's the most supportive director I've worked with in a decent amount of time. And my shirt acting credentials, but I mean, he's always there. He knows what he wants. He tells you what he wants, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I mean, if you tell me what you want, what you want, I'm gonna do my best to put it out there for you, while adding my own flair to it as best as I can. I mean, that's the best any actor can ever do, as simple as that sounds, but at the same time, it's not simple at the same time because the director has his vision in his own head. And when you actually connect on what he actually thought that he wanted to see in his eyes, uh, and you actually make that connection and you actually put out there in the first draft, the first act or first whatever. I mean, that it's a big feeling. I mean, it's a feeling of accomplishment to actually be able to connect with a director like that.
He
And
conveys what
Scott's
he
that
needs
person.
very well.
Exactly.
Where other
Unlike
directors, I
me.
know some, yeah, well, but at least he makes it where you understand it as an actor, and he conveys it the right way. Which I could see where actors and directors could have problems at times if it's not conveyed right to the actor, and they're not quite sure what they're looking for. They're not getting what they're looking for. The actor doesn't know what to do, and I can imagine the problems. And it's a very good sign that you're able to convey what you need, and Kevin's able to
I can
deliver it for you.
absolutely
So
read what he's feeling. Like whenever he's actually directing behind the camera, I can actually read what he's feeling, what he wants me to do, or what he wants the direction of the scene to take. You can absolutely feel that because again, he puts his heart and soul into what he's putting out there. These are his babies. I mean, this is what he wrote. This is again his soul out there for everybody to see. This is what he wants people to. This is a story he wants people to see. He wants to tell an amazing story, and he does a great job at that. Uh, and to be somebody to actually project that for him, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, it's another reason why I like acting. I'm okay at it, but
Well,
modest.
It's 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 awesome to actually get to do that. Going back to like your original question, like what got me into acting, I would absolutely say that that's another thing that makes me love it is you're putting somebody else's art out there and you're bringing it to life. You're actually taking pages that somebody wrote and breathing life into it and bringing it into the realm of reality, so everybody can see and everybody can enjoy. They can escape their lives and just enjoy and sit and watch this movie, and just get to watch this and escape their lives for however many minutes in the day.
That's it. It's
well,
about escapism, you know.
well, I'm excited for you guys. I want you guys to keep me updated. It was a
Oh,
pleasure having you both on. Uh, Scott and Kevin, if I could speak. Scott, I'm glad you reached out to me to discuss what's going on. I want you guys to keep me updated. Let me know how filming's going. Let us know, keep us updated where people can watch Lacan when it comes out, where we can have a chance to see it. And also when the Black Tent gets done, hopefully if I get a chance, I'll come visit you out there on the East Coast on the set. And yeah, thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody. And again, thank you guys. And best of luck with these films. And
thank you.
I'm hoping you get a great response and on to bigger and better things for both of you. So
Thank
No,
you.
thank you.
again,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
my pleasure, my pleasure. And thank you, chat, once again, everybody being here, interacting and supporting both Scott and Kevin. And until next time, we got some more interviews this coming weekend. Nothing really this week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a great, safe Thanksgiving. I know the weather's been weird in some places and real dangerous. So stay safe. See your family. Eat lots of turkey. Lots of mashed potatoes. And and take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Bye bye.
See you.